tell me a story of like a patient that really stands out in your mind is this is why I got into this.
I'll tell you, I'm just use my very first patient. He's my best friend. There's a testimonial online of him. His name is Chris. Chris had gone through the route. He's a mid-40s guy, very, very fit. His career depends upon him. His family depends upon him. And midway through chiropractic school, he had come to me and he said, "Hey, Joey, I have some issues going on." I'm like, "Chris, what's up?" And he goes, "My right arm no longer functions." And Chris had been a college football player. He'd been through the ringer, and he currently works in a concrete industry. He's the owner of a concrete pouring business, and he was no longer able to work. And so his entire hand, he tells me, he goes, "I couldn't even hold a fork. I couldn't reach into my pocket to grab my keys out." And I had gone into an orthopedic, and he mentioned that he wanted to do cervical surgery, which is where they would come in and fuse together a certain segment of it. In his case, it would be the 5th and 6th cervical vertebrae. And at that point, I said, "Hey, Chris, I can help you." I said, "Okay. Well, I'm willing to try anything to avoid surgery." So we went in, we did our nervous system evaluation. We found what we were expecting we were going to find, and we started him underneath care. In our offices, we only focus on the top 2 bones in your neck and how they impact your nervous system. In his case, we started taking care of him, and over a course of visits, let's say this is about 6 months of care, around month 4, his hand completely restored.
Wow.
He no longer had issues with it, was totally fine.
That's amazing. So I know that I saw an article not too long ago saying sitting is the new smoking. That the way that we have a sedentary lifestyle. We're not out there working out the way we should. Are you seeing victims of a sedentary lifestyle?
I think that makes up a majority of my clientele.
Really? What are the? I mean, obviously they've done stories about carpal tunnel syndrome. Can your chair really make a difference on your posture? And I notice that in some companies you'll see employees sitting on big rubber balls.
Sure. The rubber ball is one solution. I think a better solution would be a standing desk. Overall, is what I would say for your standpoint, is that we are made to be active and moving human beings. And in an upright posture, when you stand, it puts your body in an optimal state. Right, because in chairs right now I'm slouching in a chair in the studio, and this is a bad posture. And what happens is most people are inside sales, outside sales. They're sitting behind a computer at a desk all day long. Puts them into bad posture. They're dealing with that from that standpoint.
Are you seeing younger and younger patients? Because I know I've seen studies about tech neck, or they used to call it BlackBerry thumb, technology-related ailments.
I always laugh about this, and I would like to say no. If you look back, I think it's really funny. The chiropractors like to tote this story about tech's neck and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's funny, because if you look back in the 1910s, you have a group of men sitting on a rail station reading the New York Times in the exact same posture.
Right.
So if that was the case, then this would be an epidemic of wide proportion over the last 100 years. In my opinion, what I see happening with the younger generation is that they are looking for an alternative to care. They don't want to be addicted to drugs. They want to find a solution that doesn't put them in a state of disease, right? They want to live long, and they want to have a healthy and wealthy life.
What about fashion injuries? I know my wife always complains about, you can't wear nice heels for very long because you end up getting very uncomfortable. But let's talk about that. I mean, do you end up seeing female patients who have issues related to the shoes they're wearing?
Actually, it's not related to their shoes. I think most of my females are they're high executives because they're very, very good at what they do, and they come see me typically for headaches, migraines, a bunch of neck issues they have going on.
Okay.
And in fact, they all wear high heels.
Do they really?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't buy into any of that, the media hype on the tech neck or the high heel pain and that kind of stuff? No.
I have one patient, she told me that she has a king-size bedroom that's a closet of high heels. And that's it. That's all she wears. I said, that's great, because ultimately I want you to be able to live the way you're designed to live. And if your body is impacting you in a way that you can no longer wear high heels,
right,
then you need to get taken care of so you can do that, because that's important to you. That's your lifestyle.
What's your personal philosophy on just general health? When people come to you, I know there's an old saying that if the only thing you have is a hammer, every problem is a nail. When you look at a person, are you seeing everyone through the same pair of lenses?
I think everybody has a story to tell. And I think the story isn't necessarily done from looking at the person. I mean, of course, we can look at somebody and you can tell if they're stressed out. You know, they carry their shoulders a certain way. Their eyes look a certain way. They tell you they are hurting. We can see that. However, it's important to know, you know, I think there was an age-old, what is this? This is more of like a story. It talks about a guy who came in for a boat and his engine went out. And he called in multiple mechanics that came in. He racked up a whole bunch of money. And he called in an expert. The expert came in. He took a hammer and he hit the engine. And then the guy was like, that was it? The engine turned on, worked no problem. And he said, yeah, that was it. So then the guy, you know, a few days later gets the bill, and the bill's for like $10,000. And the guy calls him up and goes, what the heck? And he goes, dude, hitting it is not the problem. Knowing where to hit is the problem.
Beautiful. You're a great guest. Dr. Joey Kramer, what's the website?
It is drjoeykramer.com. We also have our corporate entity, which is www.thespecific.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
When we come back, an entrepreneur who's decided to take technology to the age-old sport of golf, and he's hitting a hole-in-one with golfers. That story is next on The Jeff Crilley Show.
More of The Jeff Crilley Show coming up.